Okie dokie, hello, welcome back to my channel. Hope you're good today. I'm going to talk about all the books I read in May and June. And also, it's just been really busy because I got engaged. So this isn't my actual ring, which my now fiance proposed with, because I'm planning to do a video or blog because we went down the lab diamond route. So yeah, I have loads of ideas about that. But this is about books, this video. So I'm going to talk through all the books I read in May and June, just like I said. Most of them are women's prize books, and let me tell you, I have mixed feelings this year on the shortlists, and I'll go through my explanations. And an overall thought so far is I've been quite disappointed, which is really sad to admit. I don't want to admit that, but I just feel this year it just hasn't been the one. I've just not really enjoyed it. I've been through a few books. I've DNF'd so many, which is really disheartening to say. And I've just had loads of other books sat on my bedside table, that I just wanted to reach for a little bit more, or they've sat there because I've felt I've had to reach for the women's prize ones. So I have no particular order, but I'll just, to give a little bit of context of how much I've been like struggling with these books, is some of my favourite books I found because of the women's prize, fiction and non-fiction, long list, short list, whatever. To give an idea, I started this book in October. It is Demon Cophead by Barbara Kingsolver. I read this when I was on holiday. I think I was in Rhodes in October 2024. It is now May, nearly June by the time I'm filming this. And I have still got 200 pages to go. I really enjoyed this when I was reading it, but I don't know what it is. Like, the writing style is absolutely phenomenal, but I don't know if it's because it's a beast that I just feel scared to pick it up again, and I just want to have the time to commit to it, to sit down and read it and just be absorbed in the character Demon's story. So that gives a little of an elevator example of how I'm feeling about these books, because this year I've attempted to read the shortlist for the Women's Prize for fiction and non-fiction. If you've seen some of my previous videos, they'll be linked in the corner. I detailed some of the books I did manage to read from the shortlist already for each of the shortlists, and now reading the rest of the books that I haven't got round to, it's you can just tell how, like, not upset, but just, I feel so terrible admitting this because I've been in such a slump. I've also been writing my own book. I finished my first one and my friends have read it, and I've got some really, really good feedback, which has really put a stride in my step. And I'm writing my second one, which I'm like really enjoying. I'm doing it longhand this time, so that's a whole experience in itself. But the books I've read, which is why you're here, I feel I've rambled a lot. How many of these have I read? I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 books in front of me, a mixture of the fiction and non-fiction. I read one of them completely, and I finished this 2 days ago. It's The Persians by Sanam Malouji. Strong start to this book, and what do I say about this? I'm really surprised it got onto the shortlist, because I thought it'd be one of those rogue ones where it's like just on the long list, but then it's made onto the shortlist. This is a library book, and I have a few library books, and I'm just, yeah. This one, I can't really tell you what happened, because it was one of those books where I was looking at how many pages I had left, which is really sad to admit. I know it follows, I can't even remember, 5 women, maybe. How do I don't know. I just feel so demoralised by the books this year. It's really hard to talk about them with some enthusiasm, but it's been a great way to find some new voices and stuff. It's just, maybe the Women's Prize isn't my kind of cup of tea for now, and I just need to give it a few years. But will I be on next year's shortlists, reading them along? Most likely, yes. So the point is moot. However, going back to this one, it follows 5 Persian Iranian women between the 1940s and the early 2000s. And because there are so many characters and the dates aren't that clear, I found it really tricky to follow at times. I got confused with the characters' names and what time period I was in, because I felt it was jumping. And again, I might have been completely wrong. It could have been in chronological order, but I just wasn't getting it. These 5 women, some of them are rich, some of them come to Aspen or Los Angeles, and you can tell I just didn't really enjoy this. I really want this to be a good video, but it wasn't for me. So that was the only one I completed of the remaining books I wanted to read from the shortlists. Then there are 2 more from the fiction shortlist. So I think I got about 20 pages into this one. It's Good Girl by Aria Aber. I think I was on a reserve frenzy from the library when I got all these books, and this, I just, you could just tell when a book isn't it. because I got With Great Circle by Maggie Shipstead, that was a real beast of a novel. I think it was 20, I don't know, it was one of the recent Women's Prize for Fiction shortlist books, and I just got a good feeling at the start, and that was a beast to tackle, but I still got through it, and it's been one of my favourite books I've ever read. This wasn't for me. I know it's an Iranian woman, I believe. Was she Afghanistan? I can't remember. Born in Germany to Afghan parents, this woman, and set in Germany and Berlin. Oh, I just couldn't be bothered to pick this up, so that sat on my bedside. This sounds really, really mean. And then this one, I think I put in my fiction shortlist video that I had a feeling I wouldn't like this book, and it was as bonkers as I predicted, and I DNF'd 114 pages. It's All Fours by Miranda July. What I could tell you so far is this woman, she's going on a trek from her home, driving to New York, but instead of going all the way there on a solo road trip, she ends up stopping at a motel just down the road from her house. And she's come into some money, and she basically blows it on doing up this motel room. So she spends 20k of money doing up this motel room. She's going to have to leave eventually. And I think she becomes obsessed with the owner or the designer's husband. Yeah, I don't know if this is meant to be a whole bonkers thing about self-discovery, but this just wasn't for me. And some of the dialogue and the way it's written, it just wasn't my vibe. And I was after, I don't know, I think with these kinds of books, I like to give them a shot, but on this occasion, it just was not it. So they're the other two fiction books I did read. The Elizabeth Strout one, I have no interest in reading after I read Oh William, I think it was, one of her first ones. I just didn't vibe with it. So I think this kind of speaks for itself. So onto the two non-fiction books I have remaining. I have Agent So by Claire Mully. This one I got 47 pages through. This was not a bad book. I just don't think the topic is for me. It's heavily set in World War II. It is impeccably well researched. But in terms of like reaching for this, I'm not as engrossed in this as I thought I might be. I saw it in the Waterstones buy one get one half price. I was like, oh, I can have my own copy. It's quite dense. I've got a bit more time to read it. No, I did not reach for this as much. However, on the positive, I do believe my grandma will really enjoy this because she really loves learning about all sorts of World War II stuff. So yeah, I'm going to pass that on to her. But for me, it just wasn't it. And then another non-fiction book is Nina Cherry's, I said it in my last video as well, Nina Cherry's memoir, 1,000 Threads. I think I got about 25 pages in, so shame on me for not giving it a bit more time to get into this novel, but it just wasn't a thing for me. And I don't know if it was the whole pictures within it on black and white pages that I was a bit like, I'm not sure how I feel about this kind of thing, because I kind of like when there are pictures in the middle. So yeah, I was not reaching for this. I can't tell you anything more about it apart from is it Ray's mum or something? Yeah, I wasn't reaching for it. So that's a little summary of the Women's Prize books I did and didn't read this month. But just to give you an inkling of some of the books I would like to read coming up that might be in my next video or I have already started, which is on a more positive note. Now, this one was a real surprise. It is Caledonian Road by Andrew O'Hagan. I am already nearly halfway through this. Oh my gosh, I thought this would be a beast and it would be too pretentious for me to understand. Absolutely not. This is the complete opposite. The writing style is right up my street. It's really easy to understand. It's full of humour, wit and sarcasm at times. And it basically follows, I think, like the middle to upper class folk and their goings on. But it follows mainly Campbell and his wife Elizabeth. I don't know what it is. Why are like evil, not to say Elizabeth's evil characters always called Elizabeth? My name's Elizabeth. I'm not evil. I mean, I have a channel about books. Yes, I might slate some other ones that I didn't enjoy, but that doesn't make me evil. So stop naming your characters Elizabeth if you think they're evil. But I digress. This one I've really enjoyed so far, but because it is quite a beast, and I do most of my reading at night now because I'm exhausted during the day, I've been reaching for my Kindle. So this has really helped me out. So yeah, I look forward to reading that. I might take this on holiday, or I've been on holiday by the time you've seen this. So yeah, look forward to finishing that one, and that is really easy to read. I'm surprised at how quickly I've got through it so far. And then I have another 4 books, I think. We have The Salt Path by Raina Wynn. This is a film, at the end of May, so it might already be out by the time you see this video. This one I saw when I was in the Lake District. I picked it up alongside Enchantment by Catherine May, I believe. I just thought it was very fitting for the trip. So I got engaged in the Lake District, if I haven't mentioned. Went to Keswick, it was wonderful, and then Windermere. It's just so magical, and it rained most of the time, but we did have 2 days of sun, and I have very fond memories of that trip now, especially with this book, because this one, I'm already a little bit through it. I want to get through it more, but I was distracted by the other books that I was trying to tackle. But this one, I think I'm in my nature girl era. I love memoirs. I love anything about nature or just people. Like if you watch my non-fiction shortlist book video, that one I talk about raising hair, which I bloody loved. I love that book so much. And then there are some other memoirs or nature books that I really enjoy. But this one, it's based on Raina Wynn's life of her and her husband. What was his name again? Moth? I think his name's Moth. And I read this when my partner was watching football and I was in the pub next to him reading my book. It's compromised, people. So there was that. But this, now a major motion picture. It follows them trying to tackle the salt path whilst Moth is battling like a crippling disease, and just follows them there. So it was really sad start to this, but I really enjoyed what I did read. So I really look forward to picking this up again. Next book, we have The Mothers by Britt Bennett. Not gonna lie, I think if I wasn't listening to the audiobook, which is how I am reading this at the minute, and I've raced through it as a result, if I was reading this by hand, I don't think it would be something I would reach for. So I've got the audiobook to hand. I don't really know what's happening at the minute, apart from it follows mostly Nadia, this 17-year-old girl. She's got pregnant, and it's just the repercussions of that and how she's dealing with it, and all her other family members and the neighbourhood around her. Then onto the final book that I'm partial, whatever. I'm kind of reading it at the minute. It is In Writing by Hattie Crisell. I've taken the dust cover off because I like to read this when I have a quiet moment. And it's basically about writing. If you haven't listened to her podcast, In Writing, or signed up to her Substack, do. It's great. I just love how peaceful it is. It's like a little nook of the internet just for books and writing and quiet authors in a way. So I really love that. And I love her podcast where she speaks to authors. She asks them about their writing style, their office, or where they work, how they work, when they work. So I just love that. And she's compiled everything she's learned plus a little bit more from that podcast. And she's set it into 10 questions and put it in a book. And I really love it, so much so. For example, I have had highlighted some of these bits because I just find it so relatable in terms of when it comes to writing. It's also inspiring as well. So like I said, I've written a book. I'm writing my second one. We'll see if either of them go anywhere. But it's just really inspiring to know other people feel the same and get frustrated by the writing process, but all the while they adore it. Because if you don't enjoy the journey, what's the point? So I love that it's all in a book here. And then finally, this is one book which I reserved it from the library I want to say over a month ago, maybe 2 months ago, and it's been sat on my bedside because of said books before, and it is Fiona Scarlett's May All Your Skies Be Blue. I've heard this compared to a Sally Rooney Normal People vibe. I think it's also set in Ireland, shock, and this is just brilliant. Why did I say that? I've not read it. I think it's brilliant if it's compared to Normal People and stuff. And I've just realised I've forgotten one more book, maybe 2 more books, which I might have to get in a second. This video is a whole mishmash right now. I'm so tired and ready for a holiday, but I look forward to reading this. It's also really diddy as well. It's a nice small book. And I tried to read this twice and I just couldn't get into the headspace. So I want to give this the right time it deserves. Let me get those other 2 books right now. Thank you for sticking with me. Right, one of the first of the 2 books is Trespasses by Louise Kennedy. Oh man, also both of these next books are Irish book number 1. Oh man, so this was another women's prize book. It was shortlisted in 2023, I want to say. I don't know if it's on here, but I managed to get this from the charity shop. It had been sat on my bookshelf for well over a year. Finally got round to it. Oh man, what do I say about this book? This was really disappointing for me. I thought this was going to be one that would really stick with me forever. It's set in 1970s Ireland, and I think is it the Troubles? I'm really ignorant when it comes to that stuff, so I'm really sorry. And it follows Kushla, and she ends up having this affair with this older guy called Michael, and just follows the repercussions, well, if any, of that, how she's trying to hide it, keep it an affair, but also deal with all the things that are going on just in wartime Ireland as well. I don't know what it was about this. It kind of felt, the writing style was okay. I didn't mind it. But in terms of like an arc and everything, I didn't feel there was one, which is probably what I was craving or do crave anyway in books. But this one just, it wasn't it for me. It was another of those books I was looking at how many pages I had left. So yeah, really, really sad to report that one. And I'll end this video on a slightly more positive note. It is The Coast Road by Alan Murrin. Also a note on this. So this is the hardback. I got this in like April last year, just after I'd quit my job. And I wanted something to look forward to, and I just didn't end up picking this up because I was so burnt out. And then recently, the paperback's come out, and it's also Waterstone's Irish Book of the Month for May, if I recall. And the paperback, I'll put it on screen here, is so different. So you've got this, and then the paperback one, I just feel is like really modern, whereas this is set in the 90s. I just feel it's a whole different vibe, especially after reading this, and just not relatable as well. Whereas this makes it feel more eerie, whereas the modern one makes it feel a bit more like, oh yeah. I can't really describe it. I'm bonkers. I need some food. This is, like I said, set in 1990s Ireland, and in the midst of the vote for divorce, if I recall. This one, yeah, this was part of my book club with my friends. I enjoyed this. It wasn't amazing, but I enjoyed it. It feels weird saying fiance. I still want to say boyfriend. My boyfriend, he read it and he could not finish this. He gave it 1 star. I give it a little bit more than that, but I totally understand why he didn't get it. It's one of those ones where it starts with something's happened, where it's literally on the first page that there's been a fire at a house, and we don't revisit it until literally the last third, if not the last 20% of the book. And in the middle, you're just dealing with not very much, just people getting in other people's business. Yeah, really easy writing style to get on board with. But in terms of like what's going on, I can understand why it's a little bit dull and maybe a bit tricky. But not to say this is a bad book at all. It was okay to read. Definitely a conversation starter for our book club. It was okay. It's one of those ones if you like a really slow burn, or just a kind of ripple on the surface thing that's going on. So yeah, that was it. And I think that is all the books I have to report. Thank you for sticking with me if you did this far. I'm I don't know how I feel about that video. If it's made up, woohoo, great. But they're all the books. I will probably still read women's prize books. Let's not lie here. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. I really appreciate that. Hit subscribe. It'd be great to have you here. And I have a few more video ideas. It's just having the time and the energy to film them. But I really appreciate you sticking around. But yeah, I will see you in my next video. Goodbye.